Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Yugipod. This is our third episode today. I'm joined with Ryan and Thomas again. And today we're going to be talking about uh, ban list predictions. We all have our own thoughts on what's going to be banned, what might come off the list, and stuff like that. And if you don't mind, maybe you can comment down below which one of us you think will have the best list come the format on January 17th. So we can jump right into it. If you'd like, I can start. I guess
I'm good with that.
my to me, I guess I have first couple that I think are blowout cards like Harpy Featherstorm, Protos, and even Stormwinds. To me, those cards need to get banned because even at one, they can cause the other duelist not to play Yu-Gi-Oh at all for a turn, and it just seems kind of unfair. What do you guys think about that?
So, what card are you referring to that's Stormwind? I'm a little like
Oh,
The barrier
the
statue.
barrier statue
there.
is Stormwind
Oh, okay.
to me because it
Yeah.
can be played in the Lyralusk and now the new Flunderies, and I guess it could be ran over, but with cards like Book of Moon and other things like that, it just seems like it's to me a blowout card. Maybe it's not
hmm
high on the list as blowout cards, but it's one I think that might get hit on the list. One of those outside looking in type of things.
Yeah. Basically, kind of what my last looks like. I forgot all about the Wind Barrier statue, but that's still a good card to ban in general. I do agree that Protoss should get banned.
Yes.
My big thing is the meat. Yes. I also think Artifact Scythe should get hit this list. Just if you're gonna remove Protoss, remove Scythe as well. To do
Yes.
Yeah,
basically
that
the
would
same
be
thing.
fair. That'd be fair. Now,
Because
coming up, do you guys have any? What's your biggest reasonings on some of these hits that you guys might have? Because a lot of times they're only deck specific, and that's why I think they're more blowout cards. Like with the Harpy Featherstorm, you can only usually play it obviously in
So here's
Queen
my
Beast
thing.
decks.
For example, Protoss. It's at any point, especially like later on in bigger tournaments, which we will start seeing more often, is that once you summon it, uh, you can literally win whatever matchup you're going against, unless they have the Veiler for it. And if they don't hold the Veiler for that, then they're kind of fucked. Like Call of Darks or Call Lights that turns off the DP engine, that turns off Phantom Knights, that turns off some of the 10E stuff for Sword Soul. It can turn off the entire deck of Drytron. It's a very targeted hate, floodgate hate, that's just should not really be as exploitable as it is. And Harpy's Featherstorm is basically a Imperial Order for a deck that does not need it, that already puts up multiple negates.
Well, I wouldn't say it puts up multiple negates.
It puts
If you
up
talk about,
multiple negates.
well,
you
yeah,
got
it
your
does.
Draco, you got your Oath to the right two. That's multiple. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, and Apex. Yeah, that's three.
yeah, that's three negates. That pretty good, especially since half of those cards can't be targeted.
Three?
Hey,
I'm just kidding. I'm
three
just
that
kidding.
can't be targeted.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
And then like four bounces.
yeah,
But I think what makes Protos so dangerous is that it could be searched. I mean, if it wasn't a searchable type of card, would it really be strong enough to be banned?
No,
no,
I
it's
I think
because it's
it's
searchable and they will not hit Sword Soul archetype itself. So that's why I say Protoss needs to be
Yeah,
banned.
yeah, that's
Also,
fair.
Protoss is generically bannable or generically banished things. So like you can technically just up the count to 3 and Just banish 3 different monsters with 3 monsters with different attributes on either field or graveyard. Just saying.
Yeah, and when you talked about Imperial Order, Ryan, Thomas, what do you think about banning the card Imperial Order?
I mean, as a resident Sky Striker player, there would be no greater happiness than to see that card on the ban list. But that's a very biased point of view, and I recognize that. But yeah, I'd love to see that card get banned. I hate it so much.
Yeah, but it seems like more of your decks are kind of getting away from a lot of traps or playing more spells. But speaking of spells now, what do you think about Fusion Destiny and even to a lesser extent, maybe Nadir's Servant being banned or
The Deer
cut
Serpent
down?
is fine. There's no reason
Uh,
like that.
The Dear Servant is still like power crept, which is crazy to say right now. On the thing about Fusion Destiny, though, um, I, somebody already said this opinion, and I really agree with it. And it's that you can't touch Fusion Destiny, and you're probably not going to touch Anaconda. So the best way to hurt that engine without killing it, I really like this one, is the ban Celestial. So that's what I would actually like to see of that engine hit, because it leaves the monster good. It just doesn't mean you get a free pot of greed eventually out
That's
of it as
true.
well.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the pot of greed is a secondary thing to getting out Destroyer Phoenix
You're right, but that
or
secondary
Dragoons.
thing. Look, Phoenix, depending on the game state, can close out games by itself. But on the crackback, that draw 2 is going to win you the game itself, not the Phoenix on board. Let's face it.
Well,
Yeah.
I suppose.
The
I
mean,
plus
like-
2 free summon potentially on your draw phase is way too good.
Like the thing, it would probably make like was it DPE versus Dragoon? It'd probably bring that a lot more closer in comparisons, because the discard for Dragoon is probably what's keeping it down the most, where you get card advantage out of DPE. So if you get no card advantage out of it, it's just a pop card, which it's still busted and it's still really good, but it's only the good card. It's not a pot of greed on top.
Right, I gotcha. But I mean, it's only pot of greed if you have no cards in hand, though. I mean,
Well, that's very easy to do with a lot of archetypes.
I mean, right now, like, no one's playing like the bigger hand traps anyway. There's no, like, the only way you have cards in your hand is if you play hand traps. And if you didn't have to activate a hand trap during your opponent's turn, that means your opponent's probably losing already. So
Yeah, yeah.
fair enough.
So
Fair enough.
it's a bad state of affairs. Now, granted, I have had Nibiru stuck in my hand. I've lost games because I can't activate Celestial, but we accept those losses.
So we just tribute something.
Far and in between.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Well, Thomas, as a Sky Striker player, what do you think about banning Mystic Mine?
I'm perfectly fine with it. I don't know. It's like Mystic Mine. I'm one of those people that jump around whether or not I think it should be banned or not. And yeah, it's kind of relying on whether or not I'm playing strikers at the time, because it's nice to see a card that just punishes people for not including an element into their deck building. But it's not a fun card, so I wouldn't say it's not a justifiable card to ban. It's
Well,
a justifiable
I mean,
card to ban.
that is a good point about the deck building portion of it. To be a good duelist, you need to be prepared for just about anything if you can. What do you think, Ryan?
I mean, I think it should be banned, as I think it would just it promotes unfun play, as well as like, yeah, every deck should be able to have multiple answers for multiple cards, but I don't think decks who can easily abuse Mystic Mine to thrive because of just one card. Like, it's the type of floodgate that just tells your opponent no, and if they don't main deck it, then they just lost that game one. Like, if you see it hit the board and you don't main deck an out to it, it's just already over. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Right. That's why they have side decks.
You're right, but it's still very few cards are at the point where like they can, once you see it in one or two game, or game one or game two, it just loses you the game no matter what.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And I don't think
Behind the
I don't think those cards should be in the format.
Well, Thomas touched on dragoons and DPE. Now what do you think about maybe at least they only usually play one of those cards, but what about limiting, let's say Zeus, for instance, as far as a card?
Yes, the almighty Zeus.
I think it's fine. It's not
Yeah, I'm kind of on the. I'm in agreement with that. Like, there's only a handful of decks that would try to force the issue in play to right now, and like Zeus is such like. I like Zeus existing because it at least makes the battle phase feels like it kind of matters.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
And
I like that. Now, thinking a little bit more outside the box, what do you think about something like Magical Meltdown being limited or semi-limited or even banned for that matter?
I mean,
I can
if
see
you're
it
gonna
being
hit,
limited.
if you're gonna hit invoke, that's gonna be what you're gonna hit. But I think invoke should probably dodge another list. To be honest, like it's not crazy. And if DPE gets hit in any functionality, that deck literally lives and dies by the broken cards in it. And if one of the broken cards is lost, the deck falls right back into obscurity.
All
Like
right.
it's only as strong as the power cards that exist for it. And if you hit the DPE, you hit that deck anyway. So, but if
Well,
people are just bored of invoked in the format, yeah, we should just hit it as well.
yeah, I guess it's not. There's not a lot of invoked running around, but it might be due to people trying to think of some newer strategies at the moment. Probably no more after the YCS. Um, I guess. What do you think about Token Collector as a whole?
Token collector is fine. There's
Well,
no
with the
reason
new
to hit
Brave
with it.
archetype, or the what is it? The Brave archetype coming out here in
The Brave
January.
tokens, yeah, they're
Brave tokens and
perfectly
stuff like
fine.
that.
There's no reason to hit it because of an upcoming archetype. It is not a blanket suppressor like, Imperial Order or Protoss or these other like don't summon cards. Like for example, Artifact Scythe. That should be gone as well.
I'm in disagreement with that. I think Scythe should go, but
Yeah, Scythe should go.
oh, I thought you said it didn't.
No,
Sorry.
like it needs to go because it's a blanket. Like it shuts off like a whole part of
Right.
the game for your deck. Token Collector is fine because it only hits like 2 decks, and even then, it doesn't hit them that hard.
All right. No. Well, what do you guys think about some of the cards that should go to 1 or maybe even 2? I'm still on the bandwagon of Mech C at least coming to 1 or 2. I know a lot of people say it should be 0 or 3, but I just would like to see the card back in the game. And I kind of wouldn't mind seeing Harp Horror come to 1. You guys have any thoughts on that?
Hardcore is interesting. I kind of would like to see it, but I'm also on the train of the deck had its time, and if Konami doesn't want to give it back, that's fine. I am on the boat of the obligatory Pendulums gets 2 cards per list, and we get 1 danger back per list. So I would think something maybe like 1 monkey board's coming back this format, and then probably Skullcrobat or Iris coming up in a number. So that would be Skullcrobat to 2. Actually, no. Actually, Skullcrobat would go to 3, and then something like Monkey Board to 1 would be interesting.
It would be interesting.
Yeah, and then the dangers could slowly start coming off as well.
Like Tsuchinoko and
Yeah, I mean,
the
like they're
rabbit.
already doing it with what Nessie.
Yeah, Nessie
Yeah,
went to
Nessie.
1.
Yeah,
Oh
they're
no, Nessie went to 2.
yeah, it went
And
to
then
2. It's
last
gonna
list
go to
we
3.
got.
This list maybe they
Yeah,
might give us
it could
Jackalope
be.
to 1, or I mean not to 1 to 2.
Yeah, it could be Nessie, Jackalope, or Tsuchinoko that getting bumped by 1
Yeah,
number, and no one would bat an eye.
because their time for what they were doing is gone.
Why would I discard to draw cards when literally my whole deck is searchable anyway in this format?
Yeah, literally.
The game's a little too consistent for Dangers to feel oppressive.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, yeah, that's true. I guess it's right now we're gonna take I guess we're gonna take a small break just to break things up a little bit. I just want to let everyone out there know that the locals at Knighthood Games here in Cookeville, Tennessee, has their locals every Thursday, and then they have practice tournaments and box tournaments on the weekends. If anybody out there is ever interested in coming and seeing us play, it's very competitive. So if you want to come down to Knighthood Games, we are located in Cookeville, Tennessee. Okay, now, is there anything that you guys that want to go to, I guess, unbanned status? I mean, is there anything really that needs to go from 2 to 3 or just off the ban list completely?
I
mean,
so MBT did videos on that, and it's hard to go through every card that could come off the list because it's on there for really no reason other than nostalgia and what is it, PTSD. That's really it. There's a lot of cards that could come off, but they're kind of insignificant in what impact they would have.
Right.
And there's not many cards that I can actually think of that I would let back on, off the list, that does have an impact, but immediate impact, I should say, other than the ones that we've already talked about.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. What do you think, Don? It's about the same. I mean, nothing really.
I mean, I'm scrolling through it right now, and there's nothing
jumps out at you.
Would bring joy to people's faces to see come back into the game. But I'm looking at the semi-limited list. I'm basically it looks like every semi-limited card besides malicious could just come off the list. Everyone would be pretty happy because that includes Nessie, the Skull Combat Joker, and Emergency Teleport. That one would be really cool, actually.
Yeah, that would be good.
Killer would be fun.
That. Do you think they'll ever bring any Zodiacs back?
Absolutely not.
What do you mean? Diversity, man. Diversity.
Yes. Diversity for the sake of
Dryden Pass is too good, okay?
Yeah.
But there's so many... I guess there's so many ways for decks to get rid of cards nowadays. I mean, I know Dryden Pass was good here, 6 months ago.
Okay, look, it wasn't just Dryden Pass, all right? You gotta think, it was being played with Tri-Brigade, and Tri-Brigade was able to abuse it to cheat out monsters from the extra deck. And that is such a free engine, Zodiac is.
Mm-hmm. It was a very flexible engine. It just wasn't something we could... It didn't have any weak spots. It just wasn't explosive, but it was always super flexible. Whether or not you needed Zeus to go second or Dryden to go first, it was really freaking good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Now, I'm hoping that you guys have your list prepared for the end of the broadcast today, because we're going to each say out loud what we think is going to be on the list and what's not. Have a little contest between us three, I guess. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about as far as ban list goes?
Does anyone have any like cards they'd like to see that are just like fun cards they'd like to see off the list?
Trickstar Light Stage.
Oh, okay, I like it.
I would like to see that actually unbanned, or
Mhm.
more than one anyway. I'd like to see that at 3 again.
I like to see
Not
what the
that it would
Dragon
have
Rulers
much
would
of
do.
an impact, but I think I'd like to see that.
Mhm.
And I'd really like to see, like I said before, Max C, but I don't know if that'll ever happen.
Yeah,
I'd like
'cause
to
I
give
saw.
us have them give us the Dragon Rulers,
You know,
all of them.
Like, cool.
I think one more off the ban list really wouldn't be bad. Maybe Blaster.
I don't think all of them off the ban list would be bad. The
I
only one
don't
that
know
might
about
cause
that.
problems would be Redox because Monster Reborning is a potential problem. But other than that,
Oh, title will be so fun.
title, yeah.
Honestly, like there are a couple cards on this list that I think would be cool to see. One card I had on my list of Chris cards I wanted to see off the list was Reasoning and Sekka's Light, just because they're cards that promote different deck building to begin with.
Yeah,
And
that's
another
true.
one of those that would fall into that thing would be either you can't have both, but you could have one grass and you could have one snow. And both of those would encourage different deck building as well.
Yeah, it would. That's why I was bringing up the Zodiac. I mean, I know it'll probably never be unbanned, but just going along those lines of trying to use your imagination to go in a different direction with your deck building. And that just for in the future, we have Tops is only at 1. If that was at 3, I think that would be nice for the new archetype that's coming out in the next set. I think Dino Rufia is what it's called, an all trap
That's
deck.
let me help you out there.
Yeah,
I think
Dino Rufia, as he says, sounds correct.
for the TCG anyway. For the OCG, I think it might be a different type, but it promotes dinosaurs, and
I
it'd
don't
be
think it
nice
promotes
to see 3
dinosaurs much
Top.
more as it promotes the Solemn Brigade.
Oh,
Yeah, Solemn. Yeah, to actually use the Solemn Brigade at maybe even all 3 of each, that'd be cool. And then you could throw in that Sekka's Light since you don't do any other spells anyway. But that's for another time. Something interesting. That's a deck that I want to build next. I was trying to see if it would even work with Altergeist, but I'm not sure.
No.
Oh, dang it. Going on here.
All right. Well,
Anyway. All right, now do you guys have your
no.
you don't have your predictions out yet?
I have what I have in mind.
Yeah, I have what I have in mind as well. Not actually written out.
I have most of what I want.
I can
Who
put
wants
it
to go first?
in the comment.
All right,
Yeah, in the
I'll go
comments.
first.
All right, I'll go first. To me, as far as banned, I have a few cards. I have Featherstorm, Harpy's Featherstorm, Protos, and I actually have Fusion Destiny being banned. I know that a lot of people aren't in agreement with that, but I have that there. As far as going to 1, I think I have Max C, Mystic Mine, and Meltdown going to 1. I know you think that Invoked isn't that big of a deal at the moment, but I still think it's a problematic card. I mean, as far as this air quotes I'm doing, broken, I think that's a very, I guess, broken card. And then to 2, I don't know if there's anything to 2 that I really have there. I think we're just going to skip that because I don't think Maxi is going to come back off. I think I'd like to see it at 3, but that's the only one I'd like to see. That's what my list will be. It'll be small until after the YCS to me.
All right, I'll go next.
All right.
Um,
Knock yourself out.
for bands, I'm gonna ban. I'll go with. I think Protoss and Scythe will be the only bands of this format. They will limit Featherstorm. Semi, we're getting. I think it's a 50-50. We'll get Tatsunoko back to 2.
Oh.
And what we'll go to 3, we're going to put the Skull Combat Joker back to 3, I'm pretty sure. That one's, I'm almost 100% certain on, and my brother mentioned this card to me. I was like, yeah, this should come back. They'll probably put it back. Is Draco Face Off will come back to 3 too.
Yes.
And my hot take is we'll get 1 grass back this format too.
Okay.
That is a hot take and a half.
That's pretty bold there. But
You will be bowing to me once it has happened.
Yeah, I'd just say
Wait, is that the only one you have going to 1? Is grass?
Grass, Harpy's Featherstorm.
Oh, Harpy's Featherstorm, right. Okay.
see, I'm just gonna be basic and just say Scythe, potentially Protoss.
As far as
My
band?
wish list. Yep, band. Harpy's Featherstorm will probably live, unfortunately.
For all 3 or do you think it'll be 1 or 2?
Yeah, it'll be a 3. It's gonna
3? All right.
live. To go to 1, I can see Fusion Destiny going to 1. That way it will prevent a lot of people from just playing 3 of the card and just a splashable deck. This way they have to commit a extra deck spot to it. Which is easily done, but, it won't make much of a difference. And then everything on the semi-limited list will go off. We'll go to 3.
Well, talk
Except for
about
malicious.
bold. Well, that's pretty good. We get 3 very, very different lists there. Going in different directions. I like it, though. I like it.
Watch them, we're all wrong, and they end up like limiting Long Young for no reason.
Well, at first I was gonna mention something about with the new Brave archetype with Brave tokens and stuff, doing something to hit.
Draco gets banned.
No, not Draco. Burning Abyss. Some of the things in there.
This is where they finally banned Dante.
They brought it to 1 before, didn't they? I can see them do it again. But
that'll be it.
That'll be our takes today. You guys have anything else to add?
Nope. Other than the fact that there will be more content coming down the pipeline. Actually, live rules.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Will be playing out, as well as coverage for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel whenever it releases. It looks like it's going to be released fairly soon with the videos that are coming out, but you never know.
Yep, and then we have Thomas has an idea of a new special tournament that we're doing just for everyone out there. I don't know what the name of it is, but I'm going to give it a pre-name with Decks on a Dime. I don't know if you guys like that one. I don't know. But that's something to look forward to after we iron everything out. Huh?
It's alliteration. I like it.
Thomas, are you there?
I'm still here, yeah.
Don't you have anything to add?
No, I don't think I do it today.
Other than man, I can't believe I'm doing this podcast with these people.
Nah, it's all good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be fun. Maybe give out a little information to the people out there. Maybe let them think of something in a different direction. What else were we talking about?
That was it.
I guess we have live duels. We have the new tournament thing with Thomas. It's not so much a tournament, but
a series.
A series. I don't know what the name of it is, but you need to keep an eye out for that. And then if a YCS ever comes near us here in Tennessee, we're going to try to podcast from that YCS. What do you think about that? That'd be pretty cool.
Maybe not podcast, but definitely give out some kind of coverage.
Yeah. Thomas, are you up for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. Maybe get some interviews.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty neat.
Thomas, you have your invite this year, right?
Oh no, I don't.
Oh my God, Thomas.
Look, the only competitive event I went to before COVID started, I literally decided to play the deck mid-car ride. Okay.
All right.
Almost
So
like
little do they know, like the actual series is going to be just Thomas. Is it going to be a Thomas progression series? Will he get his invite this year? And like the 2 regionals are around us before.
Oh, yeah, that could be like a little reality series, Thomas.
Mhm.
We could follow
yeah.
Thomas and his journey
I
to
just have
the.
to move into your place with the camera.
Uh-huh.
Don't worry.
Yeah, sure. All right. Well, I'll give you my opinion. I'm already I'm hoping if I don't oversleep Sunday, I'm going to enter a remote duel regional so I can just be done with it.
All right.
You're not
But
gonna
we'll see how
hold
that
off-
goes.
You're not
And
gonna
I'll tell
hold
you
off
my
to,
adventures.
You're not going to hold
Yeah.
off to real play.
I mean, an invite's an invite. Don't
Yeah,
at
it
me.
doesn't matter how you get it.
I mean, true.
I'll get that free play, Matt. You watch me.
Let's
Do you
go.
already know what you're going to take with you?
To the remote duel, I'll probably play Sky Striker. Yeah, I'll probably play Sky Striker. There's no reason not for me to play that deck.
It's still a good deck.
It is. He just
Feel
has
good.
to be greedy with it and not be nice to people when he plays online.
Yes.
Well, all right. Having said that, I guess we'll let everybody go today. I want to thank everyone for listening and tune in this weekend for episode number 4. We kind of talked about how Bursts of Destiny might have had any kind of an impact on the upcoming YCS, and we'll talk about the upcoming YCS and what decks might be featured there and how many people might even be, if COVID will even have an impact there. So thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you next time.